Yeah.
Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopijana Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Natira Vanata Yamunatira Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That was like, that came up. Yeah, that was a good verse. So, I've actually been studying Srila Prabhupada's lecture from about 2 chapters ago. It was a good verse. So we're on text 30 today? Okay. Yara na yogo pashisashu cheto mayashu siddhasya visajayate aniga ananya hetu ata me gati shad atyantiki yatra na mitur hasa yara na yago pashishu cheto maya shushidasya frijastate niga anaya etu atame gati shad atyantiki yatra na mitur hasa yada na yoga pashishu cheto maya shu siddhasya visachite aniga anaya hetu vatame gati syad atyantiki yatra namitu hasa yada na yoga pashishu cheto maya shu siddhasya visachite aniga ananya etu vatame gati syad atyantiki yatra namitu hasa
Yada na yogo pacheta sucheto
yada na yoga pashishu cheto
maya susiddhasya visajjatenga
maya shu siddhasya visachite aniga
ananya hetush vatame gatisyar
ananya hetu vatame gati syad
atyantiki yatra namrityu hasah
atyantiki yatra namitu hasa
Yada na yoga pachita sucheto
Yada no yogo pashi chisho tateto.
Maya susiddhasya vishajyatenga
Maya shusidhasya vishachetaniga.
Ananya hetushvatame gati syad
Ananya hitu vata megatishad.
Atyantiki yatra namityuhasaha
Atyakiyatra nimityahasa.
Yada na yogo patiche sucheto
Yovash. Sesto.
Maya shushriddhasya visajata anga
Maya susidhasya vishachetaniga.
Ananya hetusva atame gata syad
Ananya itu vata megatishad.
Atyantiki yatra nam mrityuhasha
Atyantiki yatra namityahasa.
Online?
Yada na yogo pachita sucheto Maya susiddhya se vishajyatenga
Maya susiddhasya visajjatenga
Ananya hetushvatame gati syat
Ananyayituvashvatame gatisya
Atyantiki yatra na mrityuhasaha
Atyantiki yatra namrityuhasa
Yada na yoga pachita sucheto
Yadanayoga sucheto
Maya susidasya vishajatengya
Maya susiddhasya visajjatenga
Ananya hetush vatame gati syad
Ananyayituvashvatame gatisya
Adyantiki yatra namrityuhasaha
Atyantiki yatra namrityuhasa.
So word by word synonyms. Yada. When. Na. Not. Yoga apashito. Two powers developed by yoga. Chetaha. The attention. Mayashu. Manifestations of Maya. Chetasya. Of a perfect yogi. Vishajite is attracted. Anga, my dear mother. Anya hetus, having no other cause. Ata, then me. Gati, his progress. Shat, becomes. Atyantiki, unlimited. Yatra, where? Na, not. Mityuhasa, power of death. Translation and purport by His Fine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When a perfect yogi's attention is no longer attracted to the byproducts of mystic powers, which are manifestations of the external energy, his progress towards me becomes unlimited, and thus the power of death cannot overcome him. Yogis are generally attracted to the byproducts of mystic yogic power, for they can become smaller than the smallest or greater than the greatest, achieve anything they desire, have power even to create a planet, or bring anyone they like under their subjection. Yogis who have incomplete information of the result of devotional service are attracted to these powers. But these powers are material. They have nothing to do with spiritual progress. As other material powers are created by the material energy, mystic yogic powers are also material. A perfect yogi's mind is not attracted by any material power, but is simply attracted by unalloyed service to the Supreme Lord. For a devotee, the process of merging into the Brahman effulgence is considered to be hellish. And yet yogic power, or the preliminary perfection of yogic power, to be able to control the senses, is automatically achieved. As for elevation to higher planets, a devotee considers this to be simply hallucinatory. A devotee's attention is concentrated only upon the eternal loving service of the Lord, and therefore the power of death has no influence over him. In such devotional state, a perfect yogi can attain the status of immortal knowledge and bliss. Yeah, so there's a lecture I was listening to. There's some guys. This guy is, well, they were talking about Kundalini. Like, did you really have a Kundalini experience? And basically, they were kind of clarifying a few different things. They were kind of saying, like, different aspects of something can be contained within as a detail of something else, which is like, the broader category, which has some details and some things to it. So basically what they're really saying is that, like, this main heading, this one thing, it includes this, but it's not that specifically, right? So basically he got to this specific point and says, yeah, they were talking about mystic powers, and they were talking to a yogi and stuff. And he's saying, yeah, I've got mystic powers, but they're not very interesting, and they're not really very interesting. You can shake out a blanket and everybody's train tickets. They named the train station Neem Karoli because he shook his blankets out and everybody's tickets fell out of his blanket, right? Because they asked him for his blanket. Generally, sadhus don't pay, so they don't get a ticket. So yeah, that's what they're saying. They said, yeah, I got mystic powers, but they're not really that interesting. Did a little sleight of hand. You go to the magic store, Hollywood shop, right? And buy some little gizmos and get little gadgets, or they show you how to do little things. They'll lose. That's what they're saying. You see the big giant illusionist, and he's got the boxes, and he's got 3 or 4 girls, and he's got a guy in a armored. Did I talk about this before? Did I say this? Yeah, he's got a guy in an armored suit, and he's got the boxes, and they got the really cool trippy music, and they got the lights, and he turns the boxes around, and he's, going like this, and ladies, they're going like this, and they get in the box, and he turns it around and opens it up. There's a head. You see there's somebody in there. Turn it around, right? Somebody else gets out of the box. He had an armor, right? It was all in pieces, right? It shows you, right? There's nothing in here. There's nothing in there, right? Right? Nothing up my sleeves, right? And he put the armor together in a box, and he does the whole big thing again. This thing, right? And opens the box, and the armor walks out onto the stage, right? So that's why he's got, like, a guy in an armor. He's got 4 girls, right? He knows exactly what's going on. The magician, he knows what's going on behind the scenes, and you're only seeing what he wants you to see, right? So then what you see, oh, that's wonderful, some illusion. How did he do that? Wow, that's amazing. Right? So there's a way to do that. So actually the material energy is pretty much like that too. It's like Krishna is the supreme magician, or Maya illusion. So yeah, Prabhupada was saying that everything is actually, because it's Krishna's energy, everything is Krishna's energy. Even anything that's bad happens to you is Krishna's energy. Basically, there was this verse. It was okay. The class was February 2nd, 1976, right? And it was I think it was chapter. Well, it's first canto, chapter 8, text. I think text 18. And it's a big, giant, big, long list of stuff. It includes the 3 modes of material nature: the senses, the sense objects, the places of action, the doer, the jiva, the living entity, the material body, the 3 modes of material nature, the time factor, the conditioned state of the illusion of the conditioned soul, right? And the liberated state of the conditioned soul, right? And so, and then what Prabhupada was talking about, how in the ultimate sense, everything is Krishna because it's all Krishna's energy, but there are specific categories. They're it's like the material energy. Well, it's Krishna's energy. It's Krishna's separate energy. So, like, we're not polytheists, or we're not specifically like impersonalists, or we're just Maya bodies, or merging into Maya, or merging into the material energy. As a form of scattered atoms or quantum. What is it? Subatomic particles. Right. And, but everything has a specific category where everything is manifested from the subtle energies to more gross energies. And it's also happens simultaneously along with the senses and the sense objects for perceiving the specific elements. And so then that's everything that we're perceiving is everything in combination. So, anyways, yeah, I was listening to this verse when the verse came up yesterday. I put them on a random. We'll put it on random, so it'll just get different lectures, right? I'm trying to remember what it's actually really called, but I guess random. But so when what was this verse? Oh, 3:25:17 came up. I was thinking, oh, that's great. Okay, that's what we're studying right now. I know I heard this because we're like 2 chapters ahead of this now, but it's good because it's really good information, which Prabhupada's saying. So he's talking about how the atomic soul, we are Anu, and Krishna, he is Vibhu, right? So Krishna is very, very large. We're very, very small. So I think he was also talking about the mystic powers. And I just mentioned this the other day. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Uddhava about the how to achieve the mystic powers. And the whole thing, even Krishna says it even in the beginning. It's got a whole big summary. In the beginning, it says, basically, yoga is incomplete without the teachings of the mystic yogic powers. Whether it's uncertain as to whether or not anybody's actually going to get your mystic powers, but if you do, you're going to find out they're not really that much interesting, right? And that was a really good point that he made. I go, yeah, so yeah, because they were really only interested in devotional service. So if you want to become larger than the largest, you meditate on Mahavishnu. Now, we meditate on Mahavishnu all the time. Didn't we just talk about creation like 15 million different times according to different aspects and perspectives and, different directives and teachings. And they included Mahavishnu lying on the causal ocean right after the Pradhan, which is the total unmanifest, becomes manifest. From more subtle to more gross, within a small space within the entire Brahman Jyoti. So then this thing is called Mahatattva, and he's lying on the Seshanaga, and he's holding his conch shell and his lotus flower and disc, wheel of a chariot disc, Sudarshan chakra. And let's see, lotus flower, chakras. I can't think of it. Club, yeah, club. So and he's got a hue of blue clouds. He's wearing a garland of tulsis, and right, he's breathing out innumerable universes. He's glancing living entities into the womb of Prakriti in a subtle form of Sambhu of Shiva. Right, so right, we're thinking and meditating on these all the time, right? It's on the cover of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's not like anything, Some of the other stuff though, like what is it? To control somebody's mind. It's kind of like you kind of step right out of your body and walk right around into the back of their body and step right into them and start doing stuff. Start controlling. Say yes. Say yes, I will do it. Look into my eyes, I will control you. Right. So, anyways, or to become, because to fly was subtle like the mind. So, I used to feel like this all the time when the wind's blowing and the seagulls were always flying over school and stuff, Like it feels like you can just fly, it feels like you just, just let up and right, so basically to actually really fly, it's the mind carried by the air. Right. And this is what we hear all the time from what is it? The mind wanders, right? It's carried by the air, the ether. It's it can go anywhere in the world automatically, pretty quick, the speed of mind. If you can actually go to the Narayana Loka within a whole year, speed of mind, like Travasa Muni, right? So it's Narayana Loka is very, very far away. If it would take a whole year, the speed of mind, we're already automatically there, or to see at distant places, to see anywhere where one desires. So you place your vision and put your vision into the sun, right? So I'm practically losing my vision already. Anyways, in my corrective classes, if I drop anything on the floor, forget it. If I finally realize that I don't still have it in my hand and I don't know where I set it down at. And it's got to be right here in my immediate surroundings, but I don't know where it is. Right. Or what if I drop it on the floor, I can't find it if it drops on the floor. It's never in the same position where it goes when it hits the floor. It does something when it gets there. I don't know what. Right, so that can take a little more time. So so I can't see anyways. So if I take my can't see and put it in the sun, right, and I can't see anyways, and then take the sun and put the sun into the Supreme Personality of Godhead within your heart, then you actually have the ability to see anywhere that you like within the world. Go check out the Parikrama Mayapur, Vrindavan, the Vrindavan temple. They had this really great bird feast that was called Sampada. Sapata. It's that, how do you say that again? Soma Papi. So on. Yeah, so on Papi. Yeah, there's a couple ways to say it. But yeah, I like it. I looked up the directions how to make it, but apparently you have to be expert. You have to take your sugar water and lay it down on the counter. Then you need to peel that up and roll it up and roll it in some. Well, you got to make sure that you cook your besan powder nicely, otherwise it's gonna taste like raw beans. Right? So you cook your besan powder nicely. So then you actually roll it up into the cooked sauteed besan powder. And you keep doing this process, it becomes a rope, and you keep doing this process, and it becomes a rope, right? But you have to do it right because it doesn't set up right or it doesn't roll up right or something. You have to be an expert to do this. They have the videos and stuff, but when I was in Vrindavan, it was really nice. I needed to take something for my stomach because I had that acetaminophen and that tramadol. So I get something kind of help settle my stomach. The Soma Padi was nice. And it was really nice because it was kind of like it's how do you describe it? It's texture porous, weaved or something. Yeah. So and then if one wants to become the smallest and the smallest, you meditate on Kasura Daksha Vishnu. Right? What do? We want to go out on Sankirtan. We pray, we meditate on Kashara Daksha Vishnu within our hearts and in the hearts of all the other living entities, right? It's equal vision, right? We're doing the exact same thing again, meditating on Super Soul, Krishna within the heart. So basically, from what I saw, it's all stuff that we actually really do anyways. But yeah, they said that basically the cities are a deterrent to devotional service. So I guess the point that I was going to make that the yogis who want to achieve the mystic cities, the mystic powers, they're meditating on impersonal Brahman, and their goal actually is to become one. But I know, Jai Gauri Nitai Ki Jai, you know, I don't know exactly that thing, but when I first started hearing persons saying that they are God or within this specific condition, you know, because they meditated on for a whole hour today before they went out as God, or because you took LSD right now, you are God, right? You know, I never, basically I didn't hear that, but every once in a while, that was actually it was my it was our counselors. They were, how do you say? Well, I guess there's a psychiatrist, and I guess there's a counselor. Psychiatrists can prescribe medication, but a counselors. When I was in the boys' home, we had the counselors, as we had to have group, right? So generally, if you're in a boys' home, you're there because of a troubled situation. Well, whether it's your fault or somebody else's fault. Somebody's there because his mom died, but he started a gang. You know, this guy was criminally insane, but he was there because his mom died. But so that's why we had the people that ran the place were counselors. So I don't know, how do you say it? But they're not psychiatrists because they don't prescribe medication. Psychologists, they're psychologists, right? So he said that he's God. And he said, when you meditate, you're God, right? And when I told Donover and Ma so many of that when I first came to the Sunday feast, they go, God, what a demon. Yeah, because that's not the way things seemed to me when I was meditating. Then all of a sudden, zap, zap, zoop. So many hours already went by, and I was concentrating my mind, and I was kind of thinking, wow, man, this is like fantastic. But it was already hours and hours already afterwards. You know, after I was already doing my breathing and my meditation and controlling my mind and stuff. It's like all of a sudden I kind of just realized, like, oh wow, I haven't been thinking any thoughts. Oh wow, I've been in this really nice deep state of meditation. You know, it was a real interesting creative intelligence that was there. You know, and it was like this complete total love. I had some sort of feeling that there was something on the other side of all of that, right? You know, where Krishna says, I'm the basis of Brahman, you know, like that. So anyways, it kind of just happened, but I didn't think I was God. You know, like that. I control the universe. I created the universe. I can't really honestly say that. But if they're saying that you tap into this energy that created the universe, then you are that energy too, that you did create the universe, although you don't remember it or something. I don't know. Nobody ever said that. But apparently they're a little confused. Right. But they have to have a bhakti element involved. Well, that's where mental speculation comes in, because when you're mental speculating, then you're really pretty much confused. That's where we when people come here and they say their crazy stuff, their whatever their hallucinatory trips was, you know, where their misconceptions are, you know, their their impersonal realizations, so that we can clarify things just a little bit better. Krishna is the basis of Brahman. You know, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. The jiva is always Anu, is always very small, atomic, where Krishna is Vibhu, where he is small, and he is very, very large and is the totality and is the complete of everything, including all of the jivas, as Krishna separated material energy. But the jivas, but it's downward compatible, not upward compatible, right? So we take the information that comes down through the Parampara system from the descending process, rather than trying to figure it out by the ascending process. You'll never come to the conclusion that Krishna's got a complexion of the color of the monsoon clouds, and that he's playing a flute, and that his best friends are these cows, these calves, the cowherd boys, right? Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, and the cowherd residents, right? And the gopis, you know, that he doesn't have any veins. What Maharaj was saying the other day, what was that? Was that on Sunday or Saturday? That Krishna's within and without is the exact same thing, right? What does they say? Without veins, uncontaminated. So it's that's what Prabhupada was saying to depict Krishna as being smooth. Is that he doesn't have yet the veins, no difference between his within and without. So are there any questions? Any questions, the subject of discussion or anything else? Oh yeah, Prabhupada was saying Jyoti, the living entity is Jyoti, we're effulgent. So also there's Brahman Jyoti. So it's basically depending on how we're referring to Brahman. Krishna is Par Brahman. The Jiva is also Brahman. And so one who is a Brahmana, he knows what is Brahman, right? So Prabhupada was talking about, oh yeah, that's right. It's a subtle form of, you know how you kind of like expand, it's kind of, what is, because it's like mind is energy. Right. That's what it was. Is that it kind of seemed to me at this specific moment that like mind isn't actually really centralized in our head or in our body, but it's a subtle object, like a gas or a air. So it's not specifically contained locally within where we think it's situated within our head or within our hearts, but that it can expand just a little bit more, right? It could, it can expand more into the whatever we're aware of, it's just kind of like being conscientious of others' feelings, kind of like look around the room and see the details and things in the room. Right. They're talking about things that we got a cache in our brain, is that we got pre-programmed images that will do the same thing like the cache in the computer will do. So it won't take so long for the computer to load the web page, or to load the program. So it saves some of the images and sounds and things. So the brain does the same thing. They're saying like when you're driving down the car, when you're driving on the street, you're not generally looking around at your natural surroundings, but you drive down the same street every day going to work, right? So the brain, you just like assume that the blue sky is up in the air, and you just assume that there's like certain landscape features, right? But you're not paying attention to it. You're paying attention to driving. So the brain doesn't necessarily really need to load any of that information because you're concentrating on driving. You know what your surroundings are. You'd be considered crazy if you said the sky wasn't up in the air. If you look there, it's there, but we don't need to know about it right now, right? Because our attention. So it's we can do the same thing, pinpointed attention on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and engaging on devotional service. That's the thing when Prabhupada said anybody knows Krishna and knows everything. So it's just a bit of clarification, rather than the mental speculative processes. The information is here. We have all the information about ahankara, right? And that's the main point. It's the false identification of the material body or the material energy, the aham brahmeti. Prabhupada said if you're in bodily material consciousness, aham brahmeti. If you are identifying as nitya srupa hoy nitya Krishna das, then that's Krishna consciousness. That's what was the other? So that's Krishna consciousness. That's real identification or real ahankar as understand. That's why there's so much of this information. The material body is as a machine, man, the material energy. bewildered spiritual soul, right? He showed the bewildered spiritual soul. And he's on a runaway ride with these runaway horses, which are each of the senses and the sense objects. You can bridle the senses and control the senses with the reins by the mind and intelligence, right? Driver's intelligence and reins in the mind. So by engaging in devotional service, then the senses, they will very easily come under control. And they come under control of Krishna's energy, or come under control of Krishna's jurisdiction according to his authority, right? And so we're acting on the authority of our spiritual master and Krishna's authority, not on our own authority. And then that's the actual real process of the real condition of the living entity. And that will enable one to be able to go back home, back to Godhead, and to extract themselves from matter, which is the purpose of the human form of life. So then we can just end class there then. Any questions or comments? Or okay, Joy. Bhagavatam class key Joy.